Think about a newborn horse for a second. Within 30 minutes of entering the world, that foal is standing up. Within an hour, it's walking. It's functional. It's ready to participate in its own survival. Now, look at a human baby. We show up completely useless. We can't even hold up our own heads for months. We are, quite literally, the most helpless animals to ever exist on this planet, dependent on others for years. This biological vulnerability is one of the greatest mysteries of our species. It's a design flaw that should have ended us, yet it became the very thing that forced us to invent the concept of a society. And at the heart of that survival strategy is a role that is often misunderstood in the context of our ancient past, the father. To understand the mystery of fatherhood, we have to look at the blueprint of the human body. And honestly, it looks like a retrofit job. Most animals are perfectly calibrated for Earth, but we burn in our own sunlight, and 80% of us suffer from chronic back pain because our spines are essentially horizontal bridges that evolution tried to stand upright. But the biggest glitch in our design is childbirth. Scientists call it the obstetric dilemma. Because we started walking upright, our pelvises got smaller, but because we were getting smarter, our brains got bigger. These two evolutionary paths collided in a way that made human childbirth the most dangerous birth process of any mammal on the planet. Before modern medicine, it was a leading cause of death for women. In this high-stakes environment, the ancient father wasn't an optional addition. He was a biological necessity. But it wasn't just about gathering food. It was about something much deeper, the creation of meaningful roles. To see what happens when these roles disappear, we have to look at a chilling experiment from 1968 called Universe 25. A scientist named John Calhoun built a paradise for mice, unlimited food. No predators, perfect weather. He wanted to see what happens to a society when nothing is hard anymore. The result was a total extinction. But it wasn't because they ran out of resources. It was because the social fabric died first. When the population grew too fast, there were more mice than there were roles to fill. The males with no territory to defend and no role to fill became listless pools of bodies. They stopped courting, stopped fighting, and just opted out of the species. The most disturbing part? When the males stopped protecting the nests, the mothers were forced to defend their young alone while nursing. The stress was so high that they turned on their own offspring, abandoning them or even eating them. The spirit of the colony died long before the last body did. Calhoun's conclusion was a warning for us. For a complex species, the killer isn't a lack of comfort. It's the disappearance of meaningful roles. In our ancient history, the father's role was the friction that kept the social engine running. He was the protector of the nest, the provider of the extra calories needed to grow those massive, energy-hungry human brains. But there is a second part to this mystery. If the day was for survival, the night was for becoming human. For 99.9% of our history, when the sun went down, the world became a place of near-total darkness and extreme danger. Fire changed everything. It created a 30-foot circle of safety. Inside that circle, you lived. Outside, you were food. Anthropologists have found that in the ancient world, daytime talk was 80% practical logistics, hunting, and plants. But at night, around the fire, 81% of the conversation turned into stories. The campfire was the original theater, the original classroom, and the original church. This is where the ancient father truly stepped into his most mysterious role, as the architect of memory. We all have a black hole in our memory. Before the age of 3, something called infantile amnesia. Our baby brains were actually recording everything, but because the hippocampus was growing so fast, new neurons were literally tearing down the old walls and overwriting those memories. To survive this memory wipe, a child needs a narrative skeleton. They need a sense of self, a realization that they are a person separate from the world. This is something babies don't even realize until they are about 18 months old. Ancient fathers and elders provided that skeleton through language and storytelling by narrating the child's life. Remember when we saw the mammoth? Remember when we crossed the river? They were building the container for that child's consciousness. We see this in the Maori culture today. Because their oral traditions place such a massive emphasis on personal history and storytelling, their people have some of the earliest first memories on the planet, reaching back to age 2.5 compared to age 4 or later in other cultures. The ancient father was the one who sat in the watch, that quiet period of wakefulness between first and second sleep. that humans experienced for thousands of years. In that meditative state, between the darkness and the firelight, fathers weren't just hunters. They were the ones passing down the myths, the jokes, and the ideational generativity that Calhoun said was the only way for a species to avoid extinction. So why are we like this? Why are we the only species that knows it's going to die, building religions and philosophies to cope with the existential dread of mortality? Why did we go from sharpened rocks to nuclear weapons in a geological blink of 2 million years, when every other intelligent species took tens of millions just to stay the same? The mystery of fatherhood in ancient societies suggests that we aren't just biological accidents or aliens seated on a planet we don't fit. We are an animal that survived its own physical weaknesses by doubling down on culture and roles. We are a species that burns in the sun and breaks under its own gravity, yet we keep looking at the sky. We are a species that forgets its own infancy but remembers the stories told to us around a fire 100,000 years ago. In the end, the ancient father was more than a provider. He was a bridge. He was the one who took a helpless, useless infant and through the power of story and protection, turned them into a member of a civilization. He was the one who ensured that even when our bodies mismatched the world around us, our spirits had a place to call home. We traded the campfire for a light switch, and we traded those ancient roles for a world of comfort. But as Universe 25 taught us, we must never forget the friction that makes being alive feel like something. We are here because of the stories told in the dark, and we are here because of the roles we choose to fill for each other.